Season 16 saw Karl Modhoff walk away with another one. And while last season didn't see a repeat of Karl's clean sweep like the season prior, he still trounced the field with an impressive stat sheet. Out of 10 races, the two-time champion racked up 9 top 5s, 8 podiums, and 3 wins. He is, without a doubt, the man to beat in this highly competitive championship. Can the Modhoff momentum keep rolling here in Monza? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch the Season 17 debut round of the PRL GTE Sports Car Championship. And you'll see all of it live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing eSports Network. Hello, I'm Bill Soup Zahn, and with me in the booth is Nick Schmeg. Behind the scenes is our director, Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Nick, early in the season, we tend to see higher attendance in most series. So combine higher attendance with potential new drivers and the chicanes of Monza, this could be a doozy.
Yeah, absolutely. Even without the lap traffic, we can always count on Monza to give us some drama. So throwing that into the mix is going to give us some insane action on track for sure. You know, sports car history here often falls in the shadows of Formula One when you discuss the Temple of Speed, but these beasts have been burning rubber into Autodromo and Nazionale Monza for several decades. The Italian giant here in South Central Europe spans nearly 6 kilometers, or just over 3.5 miles. There's only 11 turns in all of that, though, and many of them are bunched up. That means there are more than a few straightaways to make up for your last mistake and try to draft up to the car in front of you. On top of all of that, though, you better have this place pretty well memorized because, as you can see in the background here, we are racing in the darkness. Passing is critical, and so are the errors here, so hence the title of the series, Precision is always going to be key. To get a better look at some of that precision, allow me now to send you down to a famously long straightaway in the world so you can hop on board for the GSRC lap guide.
Alright, we've got Taylor Burris in the GSRC 4 GT, so let's do a lap around Monza. Down the pit straight, you'll come up to Rettifilio with a huge amount of speed. Expect the draft to allow drivers a good chance to attack into here. But it'll be tricky to nail the braking, especially if you're trying to take it that couple feet farther. It's not uncommon to see drivers take a cut course penalty here. Stay off those large curves, get the power down, and now you're on your way towards Curva Grande. There's nothing much to this corner in a modern GT car. Just hug the inside to make it the shortest distance possible. However, once again, because of the speeds you'll reach, the driver behind could find the slipstream and then attempt to overtake in Della Roggia. But just like the first chicane, there's a big danger in either cutting the chicane itself or taking way too much curb by getting greedy. Both will be costly. After that, you've got a short blast to the first Lesmo. It's always tempting to turn in too early to this corner, but if you do that, you'll probably just understeer off on the exit. There's not a terribly long straight down to the second Lesmo, so it'll be rare to see passes into here despite being the sharper of the two corners. Besides, it's much more important to get yourself a good launch because it's another long run down to Ascari. This last chicane is unique compared to the other two in the way it has 3 apexes and is taken quite a bit faster. The shallow curbs are fine, but avoid those black and yellow pills which can actually damage the car if you're not careful. Another good corner exit is important, but this time pass attempts into Parabolica might be a bit more rare. There isn't quite as much braking into here as some of the other corners, and it's also smarter to just wait until the front stretch to utilize the draft. This 180-degree bend really opens up on the exit, so you'll get back on the throttle earlier than you expect. And that'll be really important to keep yourself from getting swamped by everyone else who found the power sooner than you. But hopefully you've now finished a lap around Monza.
That lap around Monza that was obviously under an Italian sun, as well as everything else on this broadcast, is made possible thanks to our sponsors. One of them being, as always, today's race is brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring organization, companies, manufacturers, teams, and drivers together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. They're also bridging virtual and real motorsports by providing a network between these two, involving sim racers, real drivers, teams, managers, engineers, and of course, motorsports fans alike. You can find out more about how you can get involved at SIMMSA, that's SIMMSA.net. Nick?
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products create an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. The winner of Division 1 here in the PRL GTE Sports Car Series will get a ButtKicker game or two or a simulation kit. Also, both drivers of the winning team in the team's championships are going to get a free t-shirt. Very cool deal there. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, a special mention that today's race is brought to you by the SpeedWerx Racing Team, who compete here in the PRL. If you'd like to learn more about this talented group of drivers, their website is srtracingteam.org. A huge thanks go out to them for chipping in to help bring this round to the air. All right, let's go ahead and review what happened last season when we looked at the Drivers' Championship. We talked about it in the opening there with Karl Modov really dominating the field. Now look at this, though. He only won by 15 points on Sean McBeth, and notice that Modov didn't have any drop points left, so McBeth was really in the running all the way to the very end. Andres Espinoza comes home in third, Zachary Hafner behind him, and then closing out there, it is the Iceman, 104 points back. But there was another championship, Nick. That's about the teams.
Yeah, and it was pretty well dominated last year by SpeedWerx Racing. They had 3 of their affiliate teams finish in the top 5. The North team, most notably with Sean McBeth and Dan Ravito, they took the crown only by 8 points, though, over the Kokomoto Racing Team. That was Karl Modov and his teammate Clark there, 8 points back. 63 points back on the podium. SpeedWerx Racing Team East, the SRT Team West there finished in 4th, 173 points back, just edging out Team Bushfink Racing. They had Perez and Eisler there in the pairs of Ferraris. We're going to be seeing some new names this season, but before we get to the race to take a look at those names in contention for both those championships, let's take a look at those race details. This is the debut race, or not the debut race of the series, but the first race of the season here in Season 17. Round 1 of 10, you only get 1 drop week this season, and we are using the 4 GTE cars on iRacing, the Porsche, Ferrari, and the Ford, as well as the BMW in the sophomore season here in the Precision Racing League. All of the races this year are going to be 60 minutes instead of most of them being 45. They are still going to be 1 pit stop, though, with 65% restricted fuel, open setups, and an incident cap of 24. Bill?
The best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many of the top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here on the iRacing eSport Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure that you subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. And if I learned anything from watching Game of Thrones, it is that the night is dark and full of terrors. It is dark out here right now. Maybe, Nick, before we go any farther into this, let's take a look at the weather, see if how the temperature relates to how the race is going to go here today.
Well, it definitely is dark. It's past 10 o'clock here in virtual standard time right now in this session. 78-degree air temperature, not much different here with clear skies at night. 79-degree track temperature, a little bit of wind right now here in northern Italy, and a bit of a humid day, of course, off the Adriatic. So pretty normal, pretty expected conditions here. I don't think there's going to be too many curveballs here that the drivers are going to have to face, except, of course, for the darkness.
A lot of chicanes here at Monza. Boy, if it wasn't for the chicanes, we'd have basically 4 right-hand corners and 1 little left-hand dog leg. What do you think we're looking at here as far as passing zones?
Well, the race here last year, I mean, it saw so many good battles. That was Tyler Dzube taking that win only by 0.2 of a second over Zachary Hafner last season in round number 4. You've got the Lesmos that you can work with. You've got all of those big, long runs. But last season, although we were racing in the day, it really surprised me how many people got the job done through Parabolica right to finish the lap, especially coming to the line. If we have another close finish, I would watch out for that turn number 11, the famous long, sweeping right-hand Parabolica to come into play.
Redifilio is the first chicane, and that's really going to be the most tricky on the very first lap, as the field is all going to be tight together. Hopefully we can get this large field of drivers all the way through cleanly, and we can get a good race under the way. No fast repairs allowed in this league. So if you break it, you bought it. You got to be careful. Qualifying going on right now. And look at that. It is, we are riding on board with our defending champion, Karl Modov.
Looks like not going to be able to finish that lap, but he had a tendency last season to put up his qualifying times very last of anyone out there. So he would scare us for a while, sitting back in 27th like he is now, but he would always wind up closer to the front as we take a look at another front runner from last year, Abner Acosta.
Currently in third. Moises Carballo was in the top spot until Dino Filippa came in there and bumped him down a number.
These are two new names, yeah. Dino Filippa and Moises Carballo, not racing last year. Good to see him here.
Always fun when a season opens up for the first time, brings in new blood, especially when you broadcast on GSRC and IESN. It gets a lot of attention. Drivers out there saying, hey, that looks like a good series. And certainly when they look at the way this series is organized, this is one that people want to be in. In fact, there's actually a waiting list to get it in the top tier series. We should see full fields all the way through the entire season. We have 32 here tonight. Of course, we are in the Division 1. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just another note about our current pole sitter right now. I don't remember the last time we saw a Ford in a GTE race take the pole here. If Dino Filippa can hang on to this, that would be the first time in a while we've seen that.
Oh, and I'm loving it too because that car is the prettiest car on the iRacing service. I'm telling you, that car goes 10 miles an hour just sitting in the garage. It's just fast. Just looking at it, it's fast.
Last season, it was the Ferraris that dominated here with a Porsche-dominated season as well, so it'll be interesting to see all of the parity between the four manufacturers here and all the setups these drivers and teams put in hard work for.
We look at Moises Carballo sitting in the second position, trying to better his time. I'm telling you, I've done a lot of races in the nighttime at GSRC. This one seems particularly dark. My gosh.
Yes, it does.
It's a new moon in Italy. All right, now there's Karl. He's still looking to get in. As I'm looking at, is he in 27th spot right now? Oh, that was okay. All right. This is outlap, so he's got to get it in now. He's negotiated the first chicane. Now he's going through Della Roggia, another left rider. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the looking there at the wrong car. Now he's working his way through. Not used to seeing Karl so far down. Now he's heading to Della Roggia. And then, Nick, up to these two corners, the Lesmos, which are almost like, they're called 6 and 7, but boy, they almost feel like, just almost like a double apex.
Yeah, it's hard to have a good turn 6 without a good turn 7 or vice versa. Easy to mess up one and it'll mess you up for the second one. And they're not similar at all. They're slightly different degrees. First one's a little bit wider of a turn.
And while we were watching this, surprise, surprise, as Michael Diaz jumps around Dino Filippa. And now Diaz is up on top, putting in a 143.62. Filippa had a 0.64. But now our attention goes to where it really should, and that is down to Karl.
Pretty much looking for a perfect lap here as he comes up to the finish line. Oh, only 16th. Yikes.
He's got some work to do. Is the defending champion resting on his laurels? Has the talent pool deepened? Well, he's got some work to do here before we go green for this very first round. I believe that's going to do it, as there's just a little time left for drivers who can put in some practice, but I think all the times are official now. We had 32 entrants, and they all put in a qualifying time. And when we look there, we'll go ahead and run through the grid as they finish those up. On the pole, we talked about it, Michael Diaz. He's going to be inside of Abner Acosta. Dino Filippa and Moises Carvalho fill up row number 2. In the 5th spot, it's Zachary Hafner, flanked by the Iceman, Christian Eisler. Andres Espinosa sits 7th. In 8th, it's Anthony Piscano. He finished 2nd in the points. Sean Macbeth sits 9th on the grid inside of George Flores. Nick?
Lots of new names back here to the field. Row number 6, it's going to be Andrew Karen in the 27 and Pablo Uribe in the 23. Javi Utreas going to be starting in 13th place alongside Jeffrey Oroyan in the 233. Michael Stogebauer going to be in 15th with Karl Modoff, the reigning champ, back in 16th. He's going to have to pass quite a few cars here in the darkness. Fernando Borda and Jared Jewell are going to be right behind him. And 19th and 20th are going to go to Justin Rame and Tony Costello.
Cross-pollination, Lee Peterson joining us here. He's going to be in the blackjack position. Matthew Tina in the double duck spot. Joshua Daniels and Kenneth Rodriguez go next. Corey Clark and Tyler Gilmet, another driver that we know from the Autobahn series. He's in 26th. Peter Mabrotten in the 27th position inside of Daniel Rooney. Joey Trungal and Cristobal Valenzuela in 30th. Takashi Kita and Matthew Hall in the last row. 32 drivers as they all find their spot out there on the grid, as we will have a rolling start. They'll start on the back half of the track, work through Ascari, which is like a double chicane, down into Parabolica, get on the gas and head down into into Retafilio. That's a nice shot. And boy, you can really appreciate the darkness there. Round number 1, season 17. The Precision Racing League's GTE Championship. Coming your way on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing eSports Network. I'm glad you're here with us. We hope you enjoy the broadcast. 60 minutes of racing on tap, 1 pit stop. Our defending champion sits well down the order, as does the man who finished in 2nd last time, Sean Macbeth, in 7th. Not only is there a new sheriff in town, there's like a whole new police force in town. A lot of drivers ahead of the guys who dominated last season.
Yeah, how about the top SRT driver here, starting 7th, looks like Espinoza. Definitely not something we would have been saying last season.
The field begins to roll. If I was buying the ticket, this is the corner I'd want to sit in, Ascari. A lot of action. It is a passing zone. If you get a good run out of the final Lesmo down into there, and then you can get a run down into Parabolica. It's an action corner indeed. Driver in control of the field. Not familiar with him, but we'll learn quickly enough. Michael Diaz. The series has a reputation of having a lot of drivers from South America. Don't be fooled, it's Michael Diaz racing out of New York. Costa racing out of Florida, so 2 Americans up front. Out of Parabolica, we wait for the pace car to duck in, and we'll get this season underway. Gather up the chickens, take cover on the cows. The horses are out of the barn. Michael Diaz leads the stampede down into Retafilio. Acosta Caraballo, Filippa, Hafner. Oh, and I told you this is going to be crazy. 3 wide on the very first lap. Easy, boys. There's a tip. Going around is Caballo. We'll come back and take a look at that later when action allows.
Great start for Abner Acosta. He tucked in right behind Michael Diaz, and he escaped all of the drama behind him as well.
Espinosa now slots up in the 5th position. The Iceman, Christian Eisler, veteran of the series, back in 6th. But it all takes place behind Michael Diaz. Diaz with good pace, beginning to distance himself from Acosta. There is a battle for 3rd as you see him coming at you. That's Filippa ahead of Hafner. Espinosa with a run as well.
Hafner going to be looking to get around Filippa as soon as possible here through Ascari, trying to get a good run there and tuck in behind that Ford.
The entire field makes it through Ascari as they go single file. There is a bit of a gap between 22nd and 23rd. It's almost 3 seconds. Up front, there's a bit of a side-by-side as Lee Peterson gets passed by Tony Costella for 18th position. The leaders come out of Parabolica, and let's give Michael Diaz credit with leading Season 17's first lap. The accordion up into the first chicane. Biggest content station is between Hefner in 7th and Espinosa in 4th and Espinosa in 5th. Into De La Roggia again. They squeeze up as the bellows close, and then as the bellows open up, the accordion can breathe and the cars stretch out a bit.
Diaz going just a tad bit wide that time. I've noticed he's done that a couple times now. He doesn't want to rack up the incident points that much this early here.
The front 5 are well behaved. You see him coming at you. Let me tell you who's the back half of your top 10. Christian Eisler, Anthony Fasano, Sean Macbeth, up a spot from where he qualified, Andrew Carone, and Yabe Gutierrez.
Not too far behind him, Karl Modoff back in 13th. He's already found himself 3 spots.
We'll take a look at the replay that got the best of Moises Caballo. They started to go 3 wide through the chicane, and that just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, I think whoever was in the middle here gets a tip from someone who was in the inside, and then that shoots him into Carballo. I think it was Filippa that got into Carballo.
Yeah. It was indeed. Dino Filippa was the car in the middle. And after they go through the chicane, Filippa picked up a little more damage.
Yeah. And that's Acosta to the inside there. Didn't see him make any contact with Filippa. A couple of cars having to take the off tracks there to get through.
And while we're watching that replay, we had a pass for the lead as Abner Acosta got around Diaz. That pass was made down the front stretch going into Redifilio on this lap. So we have a new leader. It was a nice simple pass without much fighting on the behalf of Diaz. And Nick, once Acosta got out there, now he's opened up about 3 or 4 car lengths.
Yeah, he definitely has. Haven't seen Diaz be able to hold tight with him like Acosta was able to. That shows me that Acosta was just being pretty patient in the first couple of laps. Didn't want to get involved in any more trouble early on. Found a good time to make the move, and he is now the leader.
Get appreciation of the darkness as We ride on board with Espinosa. Now, Espinosa has been one of the most aggressive drivers. He sits in 5th right now. He has been poking and prodding on the back of Zachary Hepner for quite a while.
Yeah, Espinosa finished 5th in this race last year. That's where he sits right now.
And the front 5 distance themselves from Christian Eisler, who's doing his best to stay with them, but it's almost a second and a half now back to Eisler.
Yeah, and for second place, Filippo's really starting to close in on Diaz. Saw it through the first chicane there, that lap around. He was really close to the back, really close underneath them in Redophilia.
Working lap number 4. That really doesn't matter. This is a time race. We're going an hour, 15 minutes longer than last season. 15 minutes should get drivers that pick up some problems, a little more chance to make up any mistakes. We only have 3 drivers who are out of the race. Moses Caballo. Maybe only one, as I see Tyler Gilnett still out there racing, so I might have overestimated that. Yeah, Matthew Hall is in the pits. There we go. I couldn't see him in the darkness. Everybody now starting to behave. Let's take this opportunity to find ourselves a hard charger. How about the driver currently in 18th position? That would be Takashi Kita. Oh, look at this. We look there as Macbeth got around the Iceman. So Macbeth now moves up into 6th.
And when that pass happened, Anthony Pisano just about pulled alongside of Christian Eisler. Eisler almost lost 2 spots there as he now tries to fight back on Macbeth. Oh, they get really close there. Who is that in the back? That is Utreas getting, I think he might have even made contact with the rear wing of Andrew Karen right in front of him for 9th. See them both go a little bit wide there.
It is a 4-car train, now led by Sean Macbeth. The interval 2.8 seconds up to the back of Espinosa. Macbeth got around Eisler. Eisler was not making up any ground. In fact, Eisler now in jeopardy of losing to Pisano. Pisano trying to get around, can't get it done. The 727 of Eisler, the 777 of Pisano. Now Pisano looks to the inside as they head down into Parabolica. Look back at it.
He's going to try to hold his line there on the inside. It's going to be really hard, especially when you've got Andrew Karen right behind you in the BMW trying to out. He's going to cross him over and take that spot on the inside.
Yeah, Eisler did not close the door on Pisano. He left him room, but what it did was both kill, lending a lot of momentum for both those guys. Andrew Karen now gets in there as they head down into the first chicane. I don't think anything's going to happen. Macbeth holding station with 5th place, 2.8 seconds behind 5th. He's still got 50 minutes to run up there and catch those guys.
In this 5-car battle, they keep battling, but the next car in line all by themselves is going to be Karl Modoff approaching these guys.
Indeed, it is a 5-car battle with Macbeth in 6th, and it goes all the way back to Utreras back in 10th, and he's got 1.5 seconds to the defending champion, 2-time champion, Karl Modoff, who's trying to get up and race. Already up 5 spots. Now let's take this opportunity to look at our hard charger, Takashi Kita. Racing in 18th, started in 31st. Got a long way to go to the next spot, though, as Pablo Valenzuela Uribe is almost 9 seconds ahead. But a nice run from Kita. Kind of what he's kind of noted for doing is starting at the back and working through the field. Driver in fourth, Zachary Hefner. Hefner's put a little distance to the man who's been pestering him all race, Andres Espinoza, and now sits really close to the back of Dino Filippo. Filippo sat on the pole for a little while, ended up starting on the inside of row 2. That's the same position he races in right now.
Yeah, for the first couple of laps of this race, it looked like Hefner was going to pretty easily overtake Filippo, but that has since slowed down a little bit for Hefner. Hasn't been able to find the pace. That or Filippo's picked it up a little bit.
Everybody up front pretty much racing where they started. The one name conspicuous by his absence is Moises Caraballo, who got bumped and turned around on the very first trip through Redafilio.
And unfortunately, it looks like just as you said that, he just retired from the race as well, so unfortunately not going to be able to see him back on track, it doesn't look like.
Well, they have one drop race, but you hate to have to play your ace so early into the hand of poker. Very, very patient racing. Right on board with Hefner. Looking up at Filippo. When we get a chance, let's go check in on Christian Eisler again. He was kind of the cork in the bottle. Once Sean Macbeth got around him, Macbeth has driven away, and now he is, Nick, once again, he is under attack from Pisano. Has tried more than once, and Karen back there as well. And here comes a dive down low underneath Karen. Careful. Getting that done.
That's real close. That's Javi Utreras.
Woo.
Very bold move. Take a look on board as we take a replay of this. This is a daring move down to the inside there. He saw the opportunity to pass one. He said, why not try to pass them both?
Really tight going into, yeah.
He definitely caught Karen and Pisano off guard there.
But he was able to keep a nice clean line through there. There was no contact. So now he was tired of waiting. Pisano was working on the back of Eisler. Karen had thoughts of maybe getting to him, but right now it's all going to be Pave going to take a shot at it.
And while we were watching that, he did get around Pisano. Oh, that's Macbeth. Off track there and stalled out.
This was through Ascari, I think. Yeah, it looks like Ascari.
I'm trying to see who that other car was that was off ahead of him. You saw that there in the distance in the shot there.
Oh, you know, I think Uribe had an incident as he went by. Honestly, the darkness is killing me, but I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was Uribe.
It was Uribe.
Nailed the curb there. We'll have to take a look on board here. This was a rallycross jump he had.
Yeah. Well, I think Macbeth, as we'll try to get to Uribe here in a minute, stick with us. I think
number 23 there.
What I think happened here is he probably just lost a little focus as the car was spun in front of him. There you see Macbeth going off. And then he loses focus and ends up.
It's crazy
so how does that... Yeah.
Crazy how those little things, especially in the dark, the little flashes there will really catch a driver like that off guard.
Okay, so that moves Eisler back up into 6th. Utreras stays in 7th. And it won't be long until Karl Modov gets to the back of Anthony Pisano. Modov now up into 10th. So all that took place in that second train of 5 that we were looking at back there. The front runners are all pretty much the same. You can see them on the top of your tower. Acosta, Sears, Felipe, Hefner, and Esposa. Espinosa about 0.3 of a second back as they work through Redifilio.
Yeah, as fast as these front 5 cars are, they are still all together.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, Utreras. That was him that was off right there.
Trying to close in as he was being challenged by Karen through Redifilio. Pisano gets around him, as does Modov.
2 laps ago, Utreras made the bold move down here into Redifilio. That one, he couldn't quite stick with it. Just lost it out from underneath him. I think he found the line of where he could go there.
So more positions vultured by the guys a little farther back, just sitting inside the top 10. Modov now up into 10th, but our leaders continue to race. Acosta, Diaz, Felipe, Hefner, and Espinosa. Best battle between them is the battle for second. Diaz now, Felipe trying to get him if he can.
The 4 drivers here, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're loving this staying together because they are going to have that pit stop later, and I'm wondering if we're going to see any of them play a little bit of strategy to try to get around Acosta.
And we'll find out how the 65% fuel plays out for each of the manufacturers that are out there. The front 5 have just pulled away. This is now a 5-car race between them. They are 6 seconds up on Eisler. Now, I've covered enough of these races for far enough seasons back to see Christian Eisler bowl back in 6th position and struggling to stay up with the lead pack. Tells me that the talent pool is indeed deepening.
Absolutely. Lots of drivers signing up for this season, and all of them with, you know, fairly high I rating. Would be really impressive. We keep seeing this series grow more and more every season. And all of their series, not just the GTE series, also the trucks and the Formula 3s and the Cup cars now on Sunday night here on GSRC as well.
And honestly, it just makes for better racing because more talented drivers tend to race cleaner. And it's good. All right, let's take this opportunity. We talked a lot about the drivers in the top 10. Let's run 11th through 15th down. We'll look at Jorge Flores racing in 11th, back a spot from where he started. Now, there's a nice battle for 12th. Fernando Borda being under attack there from Jeffrey Arroyan.
And right behind them for 14th, actually, side by side right now, Justin Rame, and this is Javi Utreras trying to get this spot back. That's where he fell back, and they're still side by side down the front straightaway.
Well, he's going to try one more time on the inside line. He's 1 for 2. Hey, he's batting 666 on that one. Good job as he makes that pass.
The driver right behind that battle is Sean Macbeth. That's where he wound up as well from his incident. He's riding in 16th.
Going to be very happy with the extra 15 minutes that they've put on to the race this season. Give him about maybe 8-9 laps maybe extra to try to run down a few more positions.
Just saw a pass further behind him as well for 18th. Josh Daniels just getting around to Leif Peterson. Looks like Takeshi Kita as well, closing in on that little scrum.
Takita doing what he does. Back in 20th now, though. I think he's lost a few spots since we checked in on him last time. All the drivers just putting in the miles right now, waiting to get to the pit window. And if we check back in up front, as we look at Leif Peterson, good to see Leif here with us, you notice that they're beginning to give a little bit of a gap there between third and fourth. Hefner now having trouble staying on the back of Filippa.
He is indeed, and that really goes to show you how fast Dino Filippa is, because these top two cars, I think, have been the top of everyone today. Diaz and Acosta, I think, really high up there in speed today. So great job by Filippa to be able to stay with him. Hefner trying to hold off Espinosa now for fourth behind him still.
Nick, you said it. That's the sense I get too, that it's really Acosta and Diaz. And Filippa's racing everything he can to stay with him.
Yeah, you can see him falling off a little bit. He's, like you said, doing everything possible to stay with him until that pit window.
The other driver that we don't know what he has is Espinosa. He has tried and tried to get around Hefner. I think he's just a tick faster than Hefner, but not enough to make the pass, and so he's back there.
That's one of those scenarios where you might see pit strategy for Espinosa come in later.
Mm-hmm.
Might see an undercut from him or something like that. But Hefner holds him off for now.
Speaking of lap traffic, that is not going to be an issue, at least anywhere into the near future, as most of the field is well ahead of these guys. We talked about Espinosa, and he gets it done. I'm telling you, Andres was listening to the broadcast.
I was just about to say, he must have been listening to us. Oh, but it's not over yet. Hefner really fighting back hard there through Rettifilio. Tucked up right underneath him.
Boy, he's right there.
See if he tries anything here. Might pull out a line. Lipped the throttle a little bit, so might be a little more conservative, at least in this stage of the race. Hard on the curbs.
Zachary, that may not be the worst thing for you. Sit back there. Let's see if Espinosa can run down Filippa. The interval just a tick over a second now.
Oh, and Leif Peterson. He is off the track.
He got into a Joshua Daniels. That was through Rettifilio.
Yeah. Oh, and really got hung up on the curbs there.
The pass trying to be made on the inside just didn't work, and he gets into the door of Daniels.
Takeshi Kita was that third car you saw there go by. He was sitting back.
Kito back up into 18th spot. Up 13 overall. There's a look at some of our hard chargers there. You can see Modop up 7.
Yeah, up into the top 10 now, up into 9th.
Let's check back in on 7th. Pisano, Karen. Modop trying to get there now. Every time Carl gets close, there's an issue in front of him, and he falls back a little bit.
Modoff, I feel like he might be on pace for a top 5 at this point. I mean, if he keeps steadily moving up through the field, definitely going to have to keep it at it, but pretty possible, I think.
And there was, and now Hefner has got back around Espinosa. So much for my thought of Espinosa pulling Hefner back up to the front. That didn't work.
I think he wanted that to be the other way around.
Yeah. But what that has done, the battling between those two cars now, they've fallen what was once about a second back. They are now 2.2 behind Filippa. So the 6-car train that included Moises Caballo, that's gone. It was a 5-car train. We've lost now 2 more drivers on that. We're down to 3, Acosta, Diaz, and Filippa. And look at this. This is Flores now under attack on the outside. That's Strogbauer. Through Parabolica. Watch for the momentum there for Michael as he'll have a good run on Jorge. Let's see what type of racing line Flores takes. Is he going to stay to the left, driver left, or cover to the inside? He does not.
It's like Stockfire. Lift the throttle a little bit, lift it up.
And boy, charging in there now. That's Javier Terreras. He's back.
Who else?
That'll be fun.
All 3 BMWs lined up there.
Flores and Stockbauer have pretty good pace. So this will be fun as we watch Utreras try to get his way through. And there's an opportunity now. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, a little bit of an opportunity. Like you said, Flores going a little bit wide. Ooh, Stockbauer, though, really holding off a little bit, it looks like. He had the opportunity. Now he's really under threat from Utreras behind him. He's going to get a great apex through the second Lesmo.
Yeah, Stockbauer cannot be quite so conservative because Utreras is going to want these spots. I would not be surprised if he doesn't get both of them out of Parabolica.
I'd be watching my mirrors down into Rettifilio.
Yeah, I agree.
They keep battling as well. Fernando Borda just a couple of car lengths behind Utreras now. Oh, and there goes Stockbauer. Gonna step out of line here and down into Parabolica. That's where we expected Utreras to make the move, but now we're gonna see Stockbauer. Looks like he might get it done too.
Yeah, Flores ran a little bit wide. Now Utreras tries to get into the toe behind this. While this is going on, Acosta still out in front.
Oh, we had some big problems for second. Filippa down into Rettifilio was going for the pass for second. And
that's what
looks like he locked it up. Going, trying to get around Diaz here. You got a huge run down the front stretch. Got in too deep, it looks like, and somehow Diaz came away unscathed.
Boy, he had the pass made, but there was just no way he was going to get that wound up in time. Amazingly enough, he did not lose the position. I was getting the news from our director that there was an issue, but my order was still in the running order than it was. Filippa was able to turn the car perpendicular, but get it going. Did not lose a spot to Hefner or Espinosa.
Yeah, I checked timing and scoring real quickly. I was looking down through the teens. I didn't see him there. No, he's still up on the podium, but that has allowed Hefner and Espinosa to close in on him.
All right, now while that was going on, you could have expected that Utreras was going to get Flores, and he did. But Stockbauer got around Flores and is now making an assault on well, this is the lap car of Tyler Guillemette. That's one way to let him by.
Yeah, about to say, Guillemette going offline there. Don't quite think that was intentional.
Oh, pit stop time, and boy, almost getting into the back of Stockbauer. I think you saw it on screen. Was Utreres, he gets it wound up, and that's going to be okay. There's the first real guys of the guys we've been following him. Beth is also in, as is Jess's Ream. We're on replay here.
Right at the halfway mark, too. That's when they had it scheduled for themselves. Ah, so close.
This will make you inhale a bit. Woo-hoo. So that comes right at the halfway mark.
Oh, and they are 3 wide coming out of the pits. They're going to have to get this settled out. Stogbauer going to have the slight edge. Somehow they avoid contact. Utreres second, but now he's got Macbeth to the outside. They get in line. That's Cristobal Valenzuela a lot faster coming up on him. Oh, boy.
Now Valenzuela has the momentum. Remember, Valenzuela still needs to pit. So that's the battle we saw before. Stogbauer ahead of Utreres. Macbeth is in the mix now. And then the much slower car of Valenzuela. There, they all get him. Top 20 cars yet to pit. The leader of all the cars who had pit, you were looking at him. Michael Stogbauer for now. We look at Diaz. Our leaders now have just started to get into some lap traffic. They made the way around Joey Tungau.
Oh, Zachary Hefner may have had an issue. We'll go to replay here. He did indeed. Again, down into Redifilio. This time, a little too wide, it looks like. A little too shallow. Definitely going to get a slowdown penalty there. Drops him back to 5th, it looks like.
Yep. So Espinosa, they have been swapping positions. He is back up into 4th. Joshua Daniels making a pit.
And you mentioned the lap traffic that the leaders were just running into. It looked like on that last lap round, Diaz was going to make a pass for the lead on Acosta, but Trungale came out of the pits at the same time. He decided to tuck back in line, so I'll be curious to see if Diaz goes for the pass again or if they come into the pits anytime soon.
Let's go to 20th real quick. Gutierrez made the pass on Stogbauer. Stogbauer coming back on him. These guys have made their stops. They're good to go. They race for 20th. And that really will move up a lot as there's a lot of cars in front of them. When they make their stop, they will cycle in front of them.
Diaz, another look down the front stretch into Redifilio, but not gonna put his foot down yet. Gonna ride in line for a little bit longer.
Here's what I've seen drivers like to do if you want to get inside their helmets a little bit. They're happy to ride in second until it's pit stop time. When they know that it's time to pit, they don't mind being first down into pit lane. And if Diaz can make a pass now and he knows he's coming in, Acosta has done all the work. My goodness, if there's anything to saving fuel from being in the draft, it's got to be in favor of Diaz. He's been behind Acosta for 35 minutes.
Yeah, he's got to have more fuel than Acosta, but at the same time, I feel like he could have more fuel. He's not saving too much back there, especially keeps looking on the inside, not staying in the slipstream down the front stretch. He is still having to let off, which is helping, but could be a little bit more fuel conscious, I believe.
Tip the hat to Joshua Daniels. That was the car he had made his pit stop. He got out of the way. Daniels in 26, now a lap down. Let's stay on our leaders, as I got a hunch it could be pit stop time coming around this time around out of Parabolica. They have 3 seconds on Felipa. And nope.
Not yet. Oh, it is for Dino Felipa and Andres Espinoza, though, and Zach Hefner are going to join them.
3rd, 4th, and 5th come in.
As well as 6th, Christian Eisler. And almost Karl Modoff in 7th. He tried to trick. Who was that behind him? Pisano. And Karen behind him. Did a bit of a duck and run.
Might be a chance for our two-time champion and defending champion go up there, run some hot laps. He's up into 3rd. Of course, he has to pit. Pisano's right behind him.
Ooh, big wheel spin for Filippa coming out of the pits. He's going to get a little bit of a help there from Espinosa, who backed off to let him out in front.
Yeah, they came out closer than I thought they would. Espinosa right behind him.
Hefner behind him and Eisler significantly behind her, but he also came in quite a bit later. But yeah, Espinosa really now on the rear end of Filippa. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Filippa, the leader of all the cars who have pitted. The top 7 have not, which include the guys who've been up front the whole time, Acosta and Diaz. They work through Ascari now. I was wrong before. This time, I feel really confident that it's pit stop time. What'll be interesting to see is Modoff, how far he can cycle up, but this lap helps him at all. He was in 9th when everyone came in front of him. He races now in 3rd.
You were right. Acosta and Diaz coming in this time.
There should be no contestation from anybody on the track. Filippa should have no business doing any kind of undercut. The question is, will Diaz be faster in his box, considering he was in the tow for 37 minutes? We'll find out.
Those two are being joined by Modoff, Pisano, and Karen as well. Fernando Borda in from the top 10. So let's keep an eye on the leaders. At least the leaders as they came in. Looks like Acosta.
There's Justice. He comes out, but not up.
Yeah,
no, it's not. It happened. It's
Diaz
what we
ahead of
thought
him.
would happen. Look at the comparison there.
Oh, 2 seconds quicker in the lane and the stop.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about the stop. They were equal on the lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's the time putting fuel in the car. Well, gosh darn it. We kind of knew what was going to happen there. Nice job for Michael Diaz. Now let's see what he can do on Acosta.
I'm wondering what happened to Karl Modoff there. Did he have a long stop?
Yeah.
Looks like he's just about coming out now. Pisano and Karen, who came in with him, were well ahead of him.
I would say
possibly a speeding penalty. 15 seconds.
Yeah, you add 15 seconds to hit. Take 15 seconds off his time, and it's a competitive stop.
Oh, another setback.
Yeah, it was the pressure of him trying to do the overcut there, staying out long. Didn't work. All right, Nick, with just about 20 minutes to go, everyone's made their stop, so why don't we run down the field a bit here. We'll hustle through this quickly because the excitement's going to be really intense. Abner Acosta started in 2nd. He is on the front right now. Oh, let me apologize. It's Diaz, sorry. There we go. Diaz, who started on the pole, now up in front. Acosta sits in 2nd. They've got about 3 seconds back to Filippa, who races in 3rd, but he is really being challenged for that position by Andres Espinosa. And then it's a long way back to Zachary Hafner, who sits in 5th. Who do you got after that?
Christian Eisler coming across the line right now in 6th place. He's started back there in 6th, and he continues to sit there right behind them. It is now Andrew Karen and Anthony Pisano, who have been in a great battle all race long. They came in the pits there with Karl Modoff. Those two did not speed in the pit lane. That means they're going to stay out the way they'd like it, without Karl Modoff in their battle. So they're going to be running 7th and 8th. And a great run for Karen as well. He started outside the top 10 there in 11th. Behind them in 9th is going to be Fernando Borda, another big charger up to the field. Started back in 17th, but kind of expected to see a bit of speed out of the number 7 machine this evening. That's exactly what we got. Jorge Flores, after starting 10th, he's had a quiet night back there in 10th. That is where he rides right now. He's got a couple seconds back to Macbeth in 11th.
Macbeth was comfortable racing 6th or 7th position till he had that spin. He's worked his way back up to 11th. But the guy who's really been putting on a good show is car in 12th, the 327 of Michael Stogbauer. He is on the back of Macbeth right now. And he's ahead of Javi Utreres. We were watching Utreres battle. Stogbauer ahead of him right now in 13th. Karl Modoff goes back to 14th. He's got some ground to make up as he's about 3.5 seconds behind those guys. And then Justin Ream in 15th spot, racing all by himself. Let's keep going, Nick.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Modoff to come back. He started back there in 16th, and we saw his way fight up through the field, but yeah, he's back there in 15th now. Behind him is Jeffrey Arroyan, who you see on screen now in 16th after starting 14th. So he's had a couple setbacks, but nonetheless, he's kept it clean most of the night, it looks like, and he's had a pretty good, solid debut race here in the Precision Racing League. Looks like Matthew Tina going to be the next car in line, the 310 machine. He's moved up 5 spots from the start. He's racing all by himself right now. Another one by himself, Tony Costello behind him. Looks like he started back in 20th. He's moved up a couple spots. Takeshi Kita is behind him by looks like about a dozen, maybe 2 dozen car lengths. Takeshi Kita there last season made a name for himself, starting in the back a lot of races and liked to charge forward at least to the mid-pack. That's where we see him now in 19th. And Ken Rodriguez in the 969 machine. He is back there in 20th after starting 24th. So a lot of these guys having great quiet nights to start off their season. Good points nights and clean nights as well, clean races.
And there's a run through your top 20. 27 drivers still on the lead lap. The last one being Joey Trungal. So we're doing that. Diaz able to hang on to the lead. About 0.3 of a second ahead of Acosta. These cars evenly matched.
It is the reverse of what we saw in that first stint. Diaz now the car ahead, so we haven't really seen Acosta except at the very beginning of the race. Acosta looked like he was much faster than Diaz, but now they are looking pretty even. First you see Acosta now get a big run down the front stretch, but not going to go for it just yet. Got quite a bit of time left. Looks like about 17 minutes remaining on the clock.
Those 2 BMWs out in front. But how about the Ford in third, hanging in there, and that is Dino Filippa. Nice job. Good to see a Ford doing so well. Filippa battling with Espinosa. The only driver who's really missing out of this is Hefner. He's well back.
All by himself as well.
Let's go back to the best battle on the track, the one we've really been enjoying. That's Stogbauer right on the back of Macbeth. And then another exciting driver behind him is Uteris.
Utreres, we've seen more than once tonight make a daunting pass on 1 or 2 cars, so these 2 ahead, Macbeth and Stogbauer, they're going to want to keep checking their mirrors, but at the same time not get too caught up in that. Looks like Macbeth had a little bit of front end damage. I'm wondering if that's hurting him at all on the straightaway. You see Stogbauer really close in on him, even on one of those short straightaways like that.
Well, Stogbauer was in this position earlier. We saw him with Utreres coming up behind him, and he made the pass going into Parabolica, and he's going to replay the lesson that he learned there, but this time he's going to have to do it on the outside, as taking the defensive line is Macbeth. To break or not to break? That is the question for Macbeth.
Oh.
They touch. They continue to fight though, Nick.
A little bit of contact, but neither of them lose control. They're still side by side. I think Stogbauer has the early edge here, but it looks like Macbeth going to get a little bit of a tow from far ahead. Jorge Flores, his teammate, has the nose into Redifilio, and I think he's going to make it work. He does. Gets the job done, holds him off.
Boy, and Utredes really lifted. He wanted to be none of that. Flashing of the light from Stockbauer onto Macbeth. Down into the front runners are still Acosta and Diaz. Wait, did we miss a pass for the lead? We did. Looking back at it, it was this lap, I believe. Going into the second chicane, a mistake from Diaz. We'll see if we can pick it up.
Diaz ran a little bit wide here. Like you said, this is down in De La Roja. And then when he tried to gather it back up, not how Acosta got the job done early in the race. That was on pure speed. This time it was given to him a little more easily.
Yeah, they were racing comfortably, and then they just made that little mistake. We're right on board with the driver who will eventually get the lead. There it is. And he powers out of it. What a great race these guys are putting up front. And Nick, they're both still out there racing. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, they've kept it very clean. They've kept giving each other a lot of room. Diaz actually fallen off a little bit from Acosta here. Acosta might be pulling away.
And now we got some lap traffic, and this time it's coming in a pair. Joey Trungle and Christian Valenzuela. Cristobal out in front, racing in 27th ahead of our leaders. Trungle in 26th.
See if they are able to get away on the straightaway. They are battling for position, like you mentioned, though, so...
Yep.
Valenzuela's going to want to be more concerned with Trungale right now. You can see the lights flashing there from Acosta. He knows what's at stake. Heading down into Parabolica. It's a hard turn to judge.
I have no idea what that means. What does that flashing light mean? That's just mean a hello? Yeah, is that what it means? Get out of the way?
Well, it's not quite a friendly hello a lot of times, but yeah, it's more so a please move immediately.
Well, he's not lifting, I'll say that, as Valenzuela kept his foot in it down into Rettifilio. He's going to make the leader work for it. He gets one, he gets two, but unfortunately, I don't know if the other driver's going to get there. Diaz is left out high and dry. Boy, Diaz is really off pace. In fact, something may be wrong as he is now in jeopardy of losing that spot to Dino.
Yeah, he's really fallen off. Diaz had a very quick stop. I'm wondering if he can't make it on fuel, if he's having to really back off. It's a tough break for him. He wasn't even able to stay in the slipstream. That's how much he has to back off here. I think he's going to have no choice but to let Felipe and Espinosa around.
Oh, and the star of our show, Stockbuyers, had an issue. We're going to look at it on replay. Car goes around.
Hard battling with Macbeth down the front stretch, down into Rettifilio. Macbeth took a defensive line. Stockbauer on the outside, just lost it. Trying to gain some grip out there. Didn't work for him.
Boy, but he has put on a good show. He cycles. He was racing in 12th. He loses 4 positions. Let's go to second. The Ford of Dino Filippa all over the back of the BMW of Diaz. Is Diaz saving fuel? Did he damage the BMW going over the curbs? Boy, the BMWs are pretty... Oh, that answers your question.
Wow. That's a lot of fuel then.
And so now there is a battle. Yeah, there's a battle. Filippo goes up into second, but that position's not safe because in the darkness behind him is Andres Espinosa. Boy, I'm telling you, you can see on the camera shot there, when a car is tucked right back in behind, when they come at you, it's basically hiding in the darkness if you don't see it.
Yeah, darkness for us, not at all for Filippo right now. His cockpit is well lit up.
I'll stay. That's the low car, that flat little squished machine, that's the Ford. Boy, you want to talk about manufacturers. Leader in a BMW, second place Ford, third place a Ferrari. Nice mix.
Looks like the top...
Macbeth maybe is the first Porsche I'm looking at.
So, yep.
And he should be up farther if he hadn't made a mistake.
Back in 10th. Which honestly is great for him. He was back in 15th at the pit exit there. He started back in 16th, took all of his first green flag run took all of his first stint there to get up inside the top 10. Now he's got to do it all over again in slightly less time.
Let's look at second. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the lap I was on Trungell there. I thought we were looking at a pass. Nevertheless, this is exciting. This is Filippo now. He got around Trungell. Now he's got Valenzuela. This is that battle we saw before. Now right behind him is Espinosa. But let me set the stage for you again. That's Valenzuela in 25th, a lap down. Filippo going to the inside. We ride on board with the twinkling Andres Espinosa. Andres knows where the light switch is on his car.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he would refer to that as twinkling.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit wide there.
7.5 minutes of racing to go. All this going on behind Abner Acosta, who's comfortably out in front of these guys by 5 seconds. We should follow up and see what happened to Diaz. Where did he end up? Oh, my goodness. How about 17th spot?
Yeah. No one else
makes waste, man.
No one else had a pit stop in front of him. Lost all that ground. It's one of the worst possible times, other from the very start, to have to make a pit stop. And it was just a little splash that he needed to finish out these last half dozen laps or so. He's got to be careful. He is running really hard, trying to gain up as many spots as possible. He's got Jeffrey Arroyo ahead of him, but still quite a ways to go. That is tough.
Yeah. Nick, let's jump back to 14th spot. And who does it include again? Is this Stogbauer in this mix again? Yep, sure enough.
Just getting around Matthew Tina. Stogbauer had fallen back. He just gains that spot in Parabolica. Let's see if Tina gives him a run down the front stretch. He's definitely gaining on him. Can't imagine he's going to lay back at all. There he goes to the inside. Stogbauer gives him the line. Tina looks like he's going to dive it deep, though. Hard on the brakes, on the curbs. No advantage to either one of them. Tina's going to have a little bit of a nose here into Curva Grande. He's got it for now. Oh.
This continues. These guys are just ahead of our leaders are coming up here in a minute. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch them before we run out of time to race.
Racing hard, going a little bit wide, kicking up some dirt. Stogbauer trying to get back in the tire tracks of Tina.
Boy, he is getting his quota of fun for a race, isn't he, man? Talking about Stogbauer, he has been in battle after battle. They are about the length of the Ascari chicane ahead of our leader.
Back down to the inside. A lot closer that time. Tina pinched him down a little bit. Tina's now having to ride that green curbing on the outside of Parabolica. Stogbauer is going to go all the way down to the inside here of the track. It's a drag race.
And let me correct myself. As we look at this battle, there are no threat of being lapped, as they're about a half a lap ahead of the leader. Boy, this continues.
Tina still holds on to it, too. Let's see if Stogbauer gets a run here. Oh, he might have the inside. He's going to force his way in there, but that's going to switch back here. Down into Della Rosa. He's going to have a good run, though.
Tina in the preferred position going in.
Well, and coming out, apparently.
Yeah, and the momentum on the wide side coming out, yeah. So that was for 14th, and that settles down now. Stogbauer back in 15th. The driver in 16th is Jeffrey Aralian. My timing and scoring shows ARO. I confused that with ACO of our leader, Abner Acosta, who is comfortably at 5.5 seconds ahead of second place. 3 minutes to go. There he is in the darkness. He's been passed a few times, but he's going to get the win if he can bring it home these last 3 minutes. What about second, you may ask? Well, Dina Filippa in his Ford was able to outrun Espinosa. That's not a battle now. He looks comfortable, almost a second ahead of the Ferrari of Espinosa.
Good battle on track for 6th place. Anthony Pisano and Andrew Karen. Man, these two have been attached at the hip all race long. That's Pisano leading Karen. See if Karen tries to make a move late in the race.
This is a battle that included at one time Macbeth with Motif watching on. They've all fallen away. They're about 3 seconds behind Christian Eisler, who has been all by himself this whole race. He's going to get a top 5. There you see the distance. But the best battle we were looking at there, Pisano and Karen. This has had some really good racing. A lot of it courtesy of Michael Stogbauer. Hey, here we go.
Down to the inside.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. Pisano tried to fight back a little bit there, but Karen just too strong. Roars past him.
That's the highest Andrew has been this race, I believe, now up in 6th. Under a minute to go. Macbeth trying to get around Jorge Flores. They head down into De La Rogia. Coming up behind him, that is Javi Utreras. There's a nice 3-car battle going on.
That'd be an interesting battle to look back on this broadcast and see who has had more screen time, Utreras or Stogbauer. They both had their fair share of fame tonight.
Flores racing about where he qualified. You got to figure out that this guy should be doing better. Our leader coming across. Our leader is coming across the line right now. Abner Acosta picks up the win. Round number 1 here in the Precision Racing League's opening round for their GTE series. Dino Filippo gets second. Andres Espinosa gets third.
Looks like Karen's going to win that battle over Pisano for 6th. Come to the line, no challenge there.
Let's check back in on Flores. Oh, as it's behind him, this is Gutierrez and Macbeth. Macbeth has the advantage right now and gets the position. Flores will get 9th. Macbeth will get 10th. Gutierrez will get 11th. Defending champion Carl Moda gets 12th. Why not? Michael Stogbauer ended up getting around Matthew Tina. He gets 14th. 23 cars on the last lap, on the lead lap, Joshua Daniels being the last one of them. Well, that was an entertaining race here at Monza for the Precision Racing League's opening round of their Season 17 GTE Championship. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Streaming your way on the iRacing eSports Network. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel's Season 17 debut round of the PRL GTE Sports Car Series. It was a fun one indeed as they raced in the dark here at Monza. Let's give you the finishing order now. Abner Acosta, he started on second position, got his highest first, battle back and forth, flip back and forth. With it all said and done, he gets the win. Dino Filippa in his Ford will take second. Andres Espinosa in a Ferrari goes third, and it's a BMW, Ford, and Ferrari all on the podium. Zachary Hafner comes home in fourth, ahead of Christian Eisler, who quietly finished inside the top 5. Andrew Carone was able to get around Anthony Pisano for 6th position. Pisano has to settle for 7th. Fernando Borda, Jorge Flores go 8th and 9th. Try as he might to get around Flores, could not get it done. Sean Macbeth will have to settle for 10th. Nick?
Back in 11th, it is Javi Utreras in the number 10, that green BMW we saw all night making moves left and right. Karl Modoff going to be right behind him, last year's champion, of course, coming into this race 16th. Speeding penalty after he fought his way up on poise for a top 5, but he's going to have to settle back there after that mistake. Justin Rame, another famous name from last season, he's going to wind up into Baker's dozen spot. Michael Stogbauer saw him a lot as well. He barely gets around Matthew Teen at the end, 14th and 15th for them. Michael Diaz, the pole sitter, a heartbreaking finish for him, fueling a miscalculation on his behalf, gonna put him back in 16th. Jeffrey Arroyan, Tony Costello, Takeshi Kita, and Ken Rodriguez gonna round out your top 20.
Fans, when we get to the season finale and you see the Diaz is a few points out of the championship, keep this race in mind. He gave one away tonight. It was Jared Jewell in the blackjack position. Double duck spot is Corey Clark. Joshua Daniels, Peter Mabroden, and Cristobal Valenzuela go 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Joey Trungle, Tyler Gilmet, Matthew Hall, Leif Peterson goes in 29th. Pablo Uribe in 30th. The last 2 cars out there, Daniel Rooney, and the man who ran into trouble on the very first corner through Redifilio on lap number 1, started in 4th, finishes in 32nd, Moises Caraballo. All right, let's go to our interviews now, and I believe we are able to talk to, who do we have, Director? I'm not sure. I can't make those out there. We have Acosta. We have our race winner. We have Abner Acosta. Abner, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Boy, you were sometimes in the lead for most of the first part of the race. Were you surprised when Diaz got out in front of you on the pit stop?
No, I knew with our strategy, I knew that he was saving and he was going to come out ahead. But the most important part, we just wanted to break away from the field. So that was the most important part of that.
Better to have a 2-car battle than a 5-car battle at the end, yes?
Yeah, of course, and we're both teammates, so.
Oh, I did not realize that. Oh, well, it's good. What team are you racing for?
We race for Obsidian Racing.
Okay. Well, it was going to be a good points day for you. I guess he didn't get the memo about how much fuel to put in the car, huh?
Yeah, he let me know that he was short, so he was going to let me buy it, and he did, and then I guess he lost it after that, or he got a slowdown or something, but he was going to save behind me, and then we were going to make it, but that didn't happen.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, you had the cushion. You probably could have got it done. Well, even though your teammate didn't fare so well, you get the win. It's still going to be a good points day for your team. Good way to start the season.
Yes, thank you. Definitely did not expect to win with the Beamer here. I thought the Raris were going to be stronger, but yeah.
You got it. Congratulations, Abner Acosta, your race winner today. Nick?
Yes, Soup. I've caught up with our third place finisher, last step of the podium here, Andres Espinosa. It's a familiar name from last season. He finished 5th in this the same race 1 year ago. But Andres, we were in the darkness tonight.
How's it going, guys? Good to see you again.
It's going great. It's good to have you back in the booth after another off season there for just a couple weeks at least. But a lot of new names up in the field, a lot of new competitors, it looks like, for you to contend with. Did you have a tough time racing out there and fighting your way up to third?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I know most of these guys. At least I know most of the ones that were on the top, probably I would say 7 positions. So I knew it was going to be a really tough race. I was lucky during quali. I catch a good draft. I was able to put a really good time. And yeah, I'm guessing you guys could see I was just trailing along in 5th place, just being quiet, not fighting anything, just catching the draft. But luckily for me, unlucky for a couple other drivers, they had some issues, and yeah, by surprise, I got 3rd. So can't complain.
Yeah, and you talked about, just sitting back there for the first good portion of the race behind Zachary, saving fuel, being cautious and whatnot. We have 1 hour races this year for the whole season. It looks like. Do you approach the races differently now? Do you think the drivers are going to be a little more cautious this season? Maybe not be as aggressive from the get-go, or does that not really have too much effect on how you race?
I think the level of competition is good enough for most drivers to know better and be kind of cautious, knowing that it's a 1 hour race. But it's always, prone to some tough love, I guess. So yeah, I'm definitely approaching races differently. There's a lot more strategy into it. Even the physical side, I was getting pretty tired by, minute 40, like the braking was starting to get tough. Your brain is just kind of in idle. So yeah, there's definitely a different strategy to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We go to Watkins Glen next week. It's another famous road course, another famous historic road course out there. You looking forward to that one?
Yes, that's one of the tracks I enjoy racing. So yeah, definitely looking forward for that.
Awesome. We'll see you there. Congratulations on your podium finish tonight. Hopefully we get to talk to you later on in the season.
Thank you, guys, and thank you to SRTE Sport for the support. See you next.
There you have it, our 3rd place finisher, Andres Espinosa. And that's going to do it for our broadcast here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Let's thank our sponsors, Simulation Motorsports Association, SimMSA, ButtKicker. Check them out at ButtKicker.com, and SpeedWerx Racing Team. Also thank iESN for the good work that they do. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on the screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen to how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today. That would be Nick, Joe, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at the Global Sim Racing Channel, or you can check us out on social media at Twitter, GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Ram. The next up, well, that's going to be at Watkins Glen, the boot. That's going to be Tuesday, June 25th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check us out. We hope to see you there. We'll also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so mark those down on your calendar so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. With that said, we'd like to thank you all for watching, as it was Andrew Acosta got the opening round win here at Monza. And now, with that said, it's time to go off and have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.